Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. We are going to be talking all about our newest feature, which is questionnaires. We're very excited. We have our product manager Layne here to talk to you guys about it. So we're going to give everybody a few more minutes to get settled in. And in the meantime, if you want to sound off in the chat where you are tuning in from, and also let us know if you have tried out our new questionnaires yet. Hello from Detroit. Layne is in Cartersville. I am in Charleston, South Carolina, so not super far. Northern Virginia, Pennsylvania. Hello, everyone. All right, somebody else from South Carolina. Hi. More South Carolina. What's up? Colorado. Okay, so it sounds like most of you have not tried yet, which is great. We're going to get a demo and answer everybody's questions, so that's perfect. Hello, Beth. Hello, Lori. All right. I love Beaufort. It's a very pretty little town. Okay, well, I think we will go ahead and get started. So our usual housekeeping spiel. Whoop, skipped right past it. Please close any extra browser tabs, streaming services, anything that might eat into your bandwidth during our webinar. Feel free to chat with each other and obviously with us in the chat tab. But if you have questions, if you could ask them in the Q&A tab, that just makes us easier to answer directly back to you. If you ask a question in the chat tab and you see it disappear, it's probably because I moved it to the Q&A tab. So you'll get an answer, don't worry. And let's get started. So today we're going to start with just a quick intro to our questionnaires, kind of what they do, and then we're going to talk about some benefits of using questionnaires and also some of the best practices for using them. Then I am going to hand it over to Layne and he is going to do a demo and then we'll wrap up with Q&A. All right, so nice. Sarah, you've used it once. And hello, Melissa. So questionnaires are here. We're really excited about our newest feature. So with our questionnaires, you can create questionnaires and questionnaire templates to be used over and over again. You can add them to your session so that your client actually will fill out that questionnaire as they are booking their session, or you can send them directly to your client, so kind of send them one off. You have several options for setting them up. You can set them up with different types of questions. So you can have open text questions, multiple choice questions, multi-select questions, and you can also set questions as required so that the client has to answer that before they can submit their questionnaire. It is part of our booking add-on, which if you have not tried yet, you have a free 30-day trial, and you can set that up by going to the booking tab or the questionnaires tab in your account. So just some of the benefits of using questionnaires. So first and foremost, no more long back and forths trying to get the information that you need from your client. You're going to be able to get all of that information up front. As I mentioned, you can go ahead and set them up so that they are part of booking the session. So to book the session, the client would have to fill out those questions, and it's right there integrated into their booking flow as it is. And then, as I said, you can also send them one off. But instead of having to ask, questions that your client might not answer completely, you're going to give them this form and they're going to be able to answer them all right away. With that, it's going to keep you from having some surprises. So you're going to, get all that information up front. You're going to know who's coming. You can get their names, their ages, whatever everybody needs, wants, requests, all of that. It's just a really good way to get everybody on the same page. They look professional, so instead of having to, look through an email at all the questions that you might have, or heaven forbid, try and fill out a PDF and save it and send it back to you. It's all right there. It's easy for them to fill out. They're prompted, all of that. And then you have an easy place that you can see all of that info that you gathered from your client. So you can obviously go to your questionnaires section and view that questionnaire, but you can also print it out so you can have that information with you at the shoot. You have an option to set a due date. So that's a nice way to make sure that you're getting the information you need beforehand. When you set that due date, you can also set it to send them reminder emails if they haven't finished that questionnaire. And then it does integrate with your session. So again, you can have that information right up front when they book that session. And then just some of our questionnaire best practices. We want to go ahead and send them early. So if you're not integrating with your booking, you send it right away afterwards, because you want to give your client time to fill out all that information. We want to keep it simple. So both with the questions that we're asking, and also we want to only ask necessary questions, because remember that they are going to have to fill it out. So you don't want to ask a bunch of questions that you don't really need information for, and then you would have to read all that information anyway. So we want to keep it simple and only ask what we need. You can break up long questionnaires with pages, so that will separate it into pages that they'll go through. That makes it easier for them to get through all of that information. And then when you're reading it, you can easily go to what section that you put the information in. We want to choose the right type of question. So, we have open text questions and multiple choice and all of that, but we want to make sure that you're not asking or giving them open text questions when really you should be giving them options. Because again, we don't want to have to read through a bunch of information that we might not need yet. And with that, you can utilize the required option. So again, if your questionnaire is, maybe getting a little longer and you have some information that might not be, you absolutely need it, but you want it, make sure to, check the box on the required one so that you are getting the information that you absolutely need, and not making them fill out lots of stuff that they might not need to. Because also remember, your clients have to take time to fill this out. And then on your side, you have to take time to read it. And then, as always, we want to recommend that you make templates with your most used questions to save you time. With your templates, you can use those over and over again. You can make edits to them. It's just a nice starting point so that you don't have to be reinventing the wheel every time. And pro tip, we also included with questionnaires some pre-made templates. We went to our ShootProof community group and we asked people for questions that they're commonly using in their questionnaires, and we went ahead and built those genre-based templates for you to use. You can also duplicate those and make edits and add and subtract from those as you want. All right, let's see. And now I'm going to pass it to Layne so that he can do our questionnaires demo.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Darby. I'm excited about this. Glad to see all those that are here, and those that have used it, those that haven't. I hope this is a helpful demo for you. I would be curious to see in the chat too, if you could share. I know, like Catherine, you said you're planning on using this for weddings. I'd love to hear, what else is everyone planning on using these for? What genre do you focus on? I would just love to see that. I think that'd be cool. So let me share my screen. All right, questionnaires. So as Darby mentioned, this is our latest feature. We're really excited about this. I would say, like booking, this was also in many ways a labor of love and a passion project. This is something that the team has wanted to do for a long time. And if you're a vet user and you've been around and using ShootProof for a while, you'll know we don't have to use contracts anymore as a fake questionnaire, which is a big deal. And it's been fun. We're 2 weeks out from when we released this, and it's been really cool seeing how users are going in there, building it into their workflow, adding it to booking. We're going to cover that. I love seeing that stuff. So I love seeing even like what people are saying, the different ways. It's exciting to see how all of you take these tools that we build and then make it your own. And that's really what we do here is we just give you the tools. Y'all make it fun. Y'all make it creative. Y'all make it worth something. So looking forward to seeing how Questionnaires does the same. So the feature with Questionnaires resembles invoices. It resembles contracts, like how Darby's are already covered, right? We're continuing this idea of you can create something and send it to a client. And Questionnaires is no different. Questionnaires can be assigned currently to a single client and emailed out to them. And you can also create templates to make life easier. We're often asking the same questions over and over. I go back to when I was doing wedding photography, actually before I worked at ShootProof and before I was a user of ShootProof, I had a photographer that I would second shoot with for weddings. And she found out I was using Google Docs for everything. And she pulled me aside and said, no, we're not doing that anymore. You're going to use ShootProof and you're going to use the invoices and the contracts and now the questionnaires, right? Like it just falls into that workflow that we want to make sure you can do here. The templates make life just much easier. And like Darby said, it was really fun asking the community and getting examples of what you all are already asking your clients, and then giving you a place to start when you first come into the feature. And it's not just empty. So I hope you all find those useful. Check those out. You can create your own from these as well. So just as an example, we'll go through the flow first of creating a template. We have this newborn session questionnaire with the ShootProof tag on it. That's the one that we made. You can open this up and review it and see all the questions that we have here. Again, this is a template. If you wanted to use this as a starting point for your questionnaire, you could. If you wanted to first maybe make some customizations to it, you could do that too. So I can use the create a template action, and we'll just put demo here and create a template from this pre-made template. And this is going to open up the questionnaire editor. And this is where you're going to see some of the things that Darby's already mentioned. You're going to be able to give this questionnaire a title that will downstream give a title that will show to your client. You can give it a description. So if you're wanting to do some sort of welcome or tailor the opening of the questionnaire for your client, you can do that here. And then we have our page feature, which lets you sort questions by topic, right? Questionnaires can be as simple as a few questions. They can be as complex as multiple things. Maybe you're needing venue information, family information. If you're doing the wedding workflow, maybe you need things like vendors. Who are you going to be working beside? And you want to get that from your client or your wedding planner. You can break up the questionnaire into pages, and for the client filling it out, that just helps break things up for them so they're not scrolling down a unlimited page, right? So with our questionnaires, we support currently 5 question types. We have the short answer, paragraph, drop down, radio button, and checkbox. So these are just basic question types that you can use, but then you can get really creative with them, right? So each question is going to allow you to enter like placeholder text if necessary. This just helps your client sort of guide them into what type of answer you're looking for. And then you can type your question in as well. With our drop-down, radio, and checkbox options, those let you not only type your question, but you can give your multiple answers that you might want to use. And you can add as many of those as you would like. And you can reorder those. So no worries about putting those in order. You can change that if you'd like to, right? So that's how pages are structured. And within pages, like we said, you have your questions. In the editor too, just to call it out, if you're needing to go through a template or a questionnaire that's quite lengthy as you're building these out, you can use the left-hand menu bar here. And if you click this, it will actually take you down to the section, the page that you're looking to edit here. And say you changed your mind, you're like, hey, this section of the questionnaire actually became a lot more important than I thought. I want it earlier. You can drag those pages up as well, and that will reorder the page for you in the questionnaire. So we're trying to give a lot of flexibility here, allowing you to build it how you need it and present it the way that you want to. We also have for each question, the required field option. That just lets you make it something that the client has to respond to if it's those really important questions, or if it's something that's just sort of on the peripheral. It would be nice if you had the information, but it's not mandatory. You don't have to make that required. The client can skip it if they want to, but it'll still show. So once you have your questionnaire template made, and even if you don't, when you first come into the feature, you're going to want to make your questionnaire. I would encourage you all to do that anyway. Start from scratch, get used to how it works. You can always use those templates. And when you create a questionnaire, you're going to assign a client to it. You can choose a template. And here's just something to call out. You don't have to make a custom template from the ShootProof templates. You can always use those as a starting point when you're making an actual questionnaire. So I just wanted to mention that. But I'll take our demo questionnaire that we just made, and you'll notice when I assign a template, we are pulling in the client's name in pairing that with the name of the template, just to sort of save some time. We saw our photographers usually lining up our questionnaires with the name of the questionnaire type because you are building it around your workflow. So we're trying to save some time. That can be edited, that can be changed. But when you create your questionnaire, you have this very similar view as to what we just saw. Creating a template, creating a questionnaire are nearly identical, but with the caveat of you have the feature that Darby was saying, which is the due date. So sometimes things are time sensitive, sometimes they're not. When they are, we allow you to set a date. And if you wanted to use a questionnaire reminder email, you can set that here. So essentially on the 23rd of July, an email will be sent to Becca reminding her to complete her questionnaire. And it gives that automated check-in that you might want to use. The other thing that we haven't yet covered is the theme option. You might have noticed with the recent gallery update a few weeks back, or even a month ago, and before that, even invoices, we've been introducing this concept of themes. It's something that has existed in ShootProof before when it comes to setting your colors and fonts, but we're trying to bring that together in a delightful preview that sort of eliminates this idea of you having to open up a new tab and jump into the client view to see what something looks like. We're wanting to give you a view right in the place that you're making it. So if you wanted to come in here, you can see what the presentation of your questionnaire is going to be. If you wanted to change it to dark mode, you could do that. We just give you those controls right in the editor, in the builder. If you want to change the font, all of that you could do here. So that's the templates. That's building a questionnaire. When you're ready to send it, we should talk about status. You'll notice that the questionnaire that I created is in the draft status. That means that the questionnaire hasn't been sent yet. So you could come here, you could edit this questionnaire if you wanted to. When you're ready to send it out and email it to the client, you're going to be able to do that using the email client action. We do give you some default email templates here. They'll be labeled default, and you can go in there and change those if you wanted to. Like we give you a default reminder template. We give you a default questionnaire message template. Those will be there ready for you to use. And when I send this, you'll notice that the status of the questionnaire has changed to pending. So that tells you that I've sent the questionnaire, but no question within the questionnaire has been responded to. And that's important because you can still edit this questionnaire. You can make changes to it if you wanted to. And I'll show you what it looks like on the client side. When the client receives the invite to their questionnaire, they're going to click the CTA in the email. They'll arrive at a page like this. It'll have the name of the questionnaire in it. They'll enter the email that you use to send it to them. Oh, I need to switch my tab on. There we go. Sorry about that, y'all. They'll enter the email and then they'll land here. Darby's the pro here, y'all. This is my maybe second time, and it's been a long time since I've done these. Once they land in the questionnaire, this is the client view of the questionnaire. So as I mentioned, you have your introduction, the description that you can have here, and then they arrive on the first page. That's the header here at the top. They're going to be able to go through this questionnaire and begin answering, the different required questions that you put into the questionnaire. So I'll make a change here. And you'll notice when I entered in the answer, it says draft saved. On the client side for questionnaires, we have auto save. So they're not having to remember to click a save button. They're just going to be able to come in here and begin answering questions. If they wanted to leave and come back to it, they could. They won't lose their progress. We're going to hold that for them. And as the photographer, you can keep up with the sort of where the client is in that process, because you'll notice if I jump back over into the studio view, the status has changed from pending and now it's partial. So that's telling you that the client is in the progress of filling out the questionnaire. It's been partially replied to, not fully. The detail about this partial status is once it's here, editing the questionnaire is disabled. We're not changing any of the questions at that point and that sort of thing. But the client can continue responding to the questionnaire. Once it's completed, you'll receive an email from ShootProof letting you know that the client's completed the questionnaire. You'll be able to come in here and review the questionnaire. This is what it looks like on your end when something's completely filled out. We take pages and we put those into these sections here. So you're not having to really click through anything. You're able to just read it in one go. And if you wanted to print this out, you could. Moving away from standalone questionnaires, we're going to go over to booking. So this was a big one, obviously. When we released the booking feature and you all were going in there and using the session types and doing your mini sessions or doing your full sessions, the biggest thing that we heard almost immediately was, I need to ask questions. I need to capture information from my client when I'm booking or when they're booking with me. And you can do that with questionnaires. So if you were to, let me back out. If you click into one of your session types and go to rules, there's a section for you there today called booking questionnaire. And this is where you can set any of your templates that you have to a session type. You'll be able to assign a questionnaire template to the session type. If you don't have one, that's totally fine. You can use the pre-made ones that we talked about, or you can create your own template here as well. So we make this really easy and to do. So you can actually create a template right in the session type settings page. So if I were to come in here and type up a questionnaire template that I want to use, save it, and return back, I'm still in booking. I'm not having to like do multiple tabs or jump around. We're going to bring you back here and assign the template to the session type that you've created. And in the client flow, I'll show you what this looks like. When you share out your booking links, when the client comes into the booking page, they'll choose their date and time like they normally do. I'll just run through this quickly. And then they'll be brought into the questionnaire. Obviously, this is an example, and I'm sort of doing this on the fly, but how we saw the client view of the questionnaire earlier, it would be here in the flow. They would complete that in one sitting, and they would move on to either sign their contract or make a payment. So if I were to submit this, I'm going to move on to my contract and sign this. I'm going to pay later. And then I'm done. And on your end, as the photographer, you're going to get your session email like you normally do. And you'll be able to review this when that session comes in. You'll notice in our session table here, we have linked items that should feel familiar. We've always used that to highlight if a session has a contract or an invoice. Now it will also include a questionnaire icon, just so you sort of know at a glance that includes a questionnaire. You'll see it in the session breakdown example here. You click that, open it up, and review it if you'd like. So the last thing that I will mention is as you go in and use this feature, I would love to hear your feedback. We always enjoy getting that and hearing that from y'all. There is, and for some reason it's not showing, there will be there it is, provide feedback button here where you can go in, tell us what you think, give us any sort of feedback that things that are working well, things that you would like to see added. We'd love to hear that. So that's questionnaires. I know that it looks like we have some questions here in the chat. So I'm going to work my way up. All right, looks like, Darby, you've replied to Casey there. Looks like you've replied to some. So is there anything that I'm missing here as far as questions? I don't think so.
I answered everything in the Q&A, but we'll just open up the floor. If anybody else has anything else that they want to ask about or cover, go ahead and do that now. And then all right. So I put up our usual wrap-up screen. So if you still have questions, go ahead and ask those. But just a reminder that we do have these webinars about every other Thursday now. So you can always register for them at shootproof.com/events. Also, you'll see the signups for them within your account. You'll receive the recording for this webinar typically within an hour or two. It's going to send to you guys automatically. And we love your feedback. There'll be a survey at the end of this. Yes, Linda, this was recorded. It will get emailed out. It's normally like within an hour. All right. We'll give everybody just a few more seconds. Thank you, VJ. That's awesome, Catherine. We're glad you're excited for it. All right. Thank you all so much for coming. We'll see you at a future webinar. Bye-bye.